Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Stars and Stripes Cup Series for Sonoma Road Course Racing here tonight for the Grand Prix of Sonoma for 48 laps, excuse me, as these drivers are going to be having a ton of racing action here tonight. We're going to be on the long current road course of Sonoma. We're going to be seeing these drivers have a handful of, a lot of verticality being changed up where the driver's going to be putting themselves on track, but it certainly is going to be a fun one, and we've got the best man with me. My name is Sam Dyer. The Sonoma, I don't what was the nickname that you were given, Zach? We got Zach Hall with us. Zach's been given a lot of names as he is one of the drivers that really dominates here at Sonoma, so he's going to have all the notes on what the driver should and should not do.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite tracks for sure, Sam. I'll just coin it as they say I'm the Sonoma Sasquatch. I don't know. It's hard to find me supposedly here, but yeah, this place, love it to death, man. It's one of my favorite road courses for sure out there. Not only do I like running stock cars on road courses, but this track it's got its own feeling. It's just a different layout. I mean, it's a really, really cool track. Also into the sandy hills here in wine country. It just looks beautiful running through the S's. Low grip track also with a lot of tire wear. It really kind of plays back into almost that short track type of racing, but on a road course. And I think that really fits a lot of guys. And a lot of guys are going to be fighting hard to try to get good spots. But this is one track that can come up and bite you at any instant, and you could be in a tire barrier really quickly.
Absolutely. Well, again, we're going to be in the current scheme, so there's going to be the chicane in the middle of the course where drivers could accidentally dump off and get themselves stuck. So there's going to be a lot of key points here tonight we'll be watching out for these 48 laps. Also, there's going to be a competition caution at the end of lap 10, so these drivers will have a short break to try to recoup, take any knowledge they can in these first couple of laps, and get going. But currently, drivers are under qualifying. 10 minutes of qualifying. We're almost 3 minutes down, and that means we've got 7 minutes left. And Zach, no one's been able to put a time down, showing how long it takes to get at least one warm-up lap down. And right now, a lot of these drivers are putting down their first lap.
Yeah, it's always interesting, too, in my opinion, to look and see what the drivers are doing on that first out lap. Some drivers are going to go out there, try to put the energy straight into the tires, keep the heat and build it up as that run goes on. And hopefully that'll bring the air pressures up for their setup and maybe make it a little bit more stable for them on that second lap. Some drivers, though, they elect to keep the tire wear to the minimum. They roll around this course at minimum speed. The tire temperature is going to be a little bit cooler. The brakes are going to be a little bit cooler when you head down the one, but you're going to have a little bit more tire life left in those tires to extract that speed. So it's kind of that fine balance of dedicating. What do you want to do? Do you want to go slow on the out lap? Do you want to go fast? So I'm seeing multiple different things done by drivers, but we'll have to see as the first few times click in here in I think the next few moments.
As we're riding on board with 39, Doug Pierce, as we've been seeing him, as we've been talking at the start of the broadcast, tons of other drivers now starting to put down their first laps. It's going to be that of Chris Essery topping the board, getting his first lap down. But a lot of people's eyes, driver to watch out for. We were looking at the stats of when the drivers had touched a road course, and Zach, there seems to be only one driver that is the fastest of them all.
Yeah, from what we've seen, Scott Rickard, he looks to be the class of the field here entering tonight, and definitely the favorite, I would say, entering this session. But already a little bit of a mix-up here we have at the top of the leaderboard. That's Kyle Bowling at the top over Scott Rickard there with a burner of a lap at 39.52. Not the fastest we've seen today. That was turned by Scott Rickard, who's going to have a lot of chance here in this race and maybe even a second lap here to attempt to get in to see if he can beat that lap he's put up now. But, man, I tell you what, Scott Rickard is definitely the favorite, I think, coming in. He's won the only road course race we've had here in the history here at the Stars and Stripes League at Watkins Glen, and that was by dominating fashion.
Yeah, it was something that really, whenever you come to road courses, you're expecting there to be certain drivers that just specialize at road courses and are the road course ringers, and Scott Rickard has figured out how to win at ovals previously, but it's going to be interesting to see how the 05 can get the win done. As we're now on board with the 12, that of seeing these drivers on track, seeing that of Andrew Medlin attacking this course and now going downhill into that of the chicane. This is kind of the more different aspect of this track, Zach, that the drivers had to get attuned with that was not here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, this was a very new addition to this racetrack. It's always been here. It's actually the most historic layout, I would say, back in the Sears Points days. the older NASCAR Cup Series, they would race this layout right here. They changed it to the shorter layout and ran that for many years, but now they've come back to this, and it's really added in some really technical bits of the racetrack to add in there. You know, you talk about that carousel. You could run off that carousel at any moment. The track just falls away there as you enter the corner, as you go over the hill, and the weight transition of the crest of that hill is undescribable until you really get to go out there in the race car and get to feel it. It's very much like a roller coaster going over top of that hill. But every section before that, too, very much about putting the power down, saving the rear tires, and keeping them under you as the race goes on. They added that technical bit in, and I think it's added to a definite, a skill gap here in these races. And look at this, Brian Burchett. What a lap from him for picking up in the practice. He goes to the top of the board here, Sam.
And also a huge surprise, Scott Rickard, the driver we were expecting to get pole and dominate after his 2 lap times being put down. Third will be the best currently as we wait for more drivers to put down a time. The next driver to watch out for that was second during practice, that of Cameron Sarton, who's going to be the number 13. He's going to be a driver to watch out for. Very quick, as also we see that of the 24 of Brian Lynch going to be hitting the track. There is a lot of speed for these drivers, and now a huge opportunity to be ahead of the 05 and having any type of traffic in front of a driver that is going to be so quick like Scott Rickard. This has got to be a little hesitant on the early goings, because Sonoma in these first couple of corners when we go green, it's probably one of the most dangerous parts of this race that we're going to be seeing.
Oh, for sure. You know, at some point it will get spread out. You'll get a little bit separated. It's going to be more of the safer bits. But that start, always critical in road course racing. Heading up that hill to turn 1, then the turn back up to the right on turn 2. That crest, so essential to put the power down and get clear of the traffic, because if you go too wide down to 3A and 3B, it's just going to slow you down major, and then going into 4 is going to set you up for, possibly an incident, because that's a very tight, hard right-hander there. And it's going to be fun to watch these guys go all around these 12 turns here tonight, as we still have 2 minutes and 25 seconds. I was watching Cameron Sarton. He looked like he was on a burner of a lap. He makes a mistake down in the hairpin and may take away some time from his lap here.
And right now we're still holding on with the 24, Brian Lynch, that we're on board with on screen. Those are the 2 drivers that are still out on track currently, trying to put a time down. Sarton only going to be able to move up to 10th on his time. We'll see here on Brian Lynch, but for that of Sarton, he can try to put down another lap currently, but we look at it, I believe Sarton, though, he is going to be done. Mistakes on his first lap, and then on his second, the 13, only going to be able to move up to 10th. So 2 very quick drivers during practice. Mistakes were made, as here comes Brian Lynch, the last driver putting down a qualifying time. We got about 9 other drivers that have decided to not put a time down, as Lynch going to be up to 13th. He might be calling it quits as well, as he is not going to have enough time to put down a second lap for the 24. We've got a minute and a half left, Zach, and all the drivers settling in and getting ready for today's race. And because we've got time, gives us a little bit of moment for us to shout out some of the big events that are coming up. This is the last race of 2021 for that of us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, but there is a huge event that's going to be starting out 2022. It is going to be our 6 hours at Daytona. And Zach, this event, we've been proud that we've been setting it up. We've been getting a lot of drivers hyped up for this, but we are now just a week away, 2 weeks, technically almost a week away from this event starting out.
Yeah, it's almost here, Sam. Tomorrow it will exactly be 1 week away from this 6-hour event. And remember, doing it for such a great cause there by the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation for that fight against type 1 diabetes. Bringing a great awareness there to that. But we got to thank all the drivers who came into that also. It's going to be a fun time. Make sure you hit the description down below for all those event details if you're looking to get signed up.
As the drivers only had about 30 or 40 seconds left in qualifying, no one else was going to hit the track. We have got an advanced. That means it is race time. Drivers gridding up, and that means it gives us a moment to take a look at our starting grid. Surprise, surprise, was not expecting this. It's the 33 of Brian Burchett going to be taking the pole position, with Kyle Bowling going to be in second. Scott Rickard going to be in that of third place, the driver to watch out for the most, with that of Derek Offerman and Chris Essery finishing out your top 5. Christopher Wade, who has been one of the more consistent drivers here points-wise, comes in third in points, but 6th coming out in this race. Ken Campbell, Mr. Win 3 in a row, technically 4 if you count the Clash. He is going to be starting in 7th, looking to continue on his top 5s and top 10 streaks. Not really a driver to win, but certainly a driver to watch out. With that of Andrew Medlin, Kyle McCoy, and as well that of Cameron Sarton going to be your top 10.
11th place is going to go to Nick Holland in the 68 machine there. 12th is going to be Travis Butt in the 00. 13th is going to be Brian Lynch in the 24. 14th is going to be John Dart. 15th place is going to be the 31 of Trey Jackson. 16th is going to be Dylan Grimm. 17th, George Kovacic. 18th place, Nate Lynch. 19th is going to be Mike Lynch. And rounding out that top 20 is Dylan Glass.
Then you got that of Doug Pierce, that of John Chicalo, who's going to be also in 22nd for the 3. Aaron Hale's going to be in 23rd. 24th is going to be that of Cornwell, but he's going to be actually our race control. So down to 25th, it's going to be Max Ward, Travis Dart, and as well, that of Jason Grayton going to be finishing out. Our 26 drivers are going to be racing, 27 on the grid, but again, Cornwell's going to be race control. We'll also see if Max Ward gets on track. But Zach, these drivers are going to be able to do just one pace lap around this course, which is going to give us time to really talk about the details of each corner and how technical it can be. 48 laps in total, but there will be that for these drivers having a competition caution. No points going to be given to these drivers, but at the end of lap 10, comp caution. As the drivers roll on, they're going to be doing that one pace lap.
Yeah, that caution thrown in there is definitely going to add a whole different spin in with that comp caution. So, yeah, I would be interested to see what they do. They do have 4 sets of tires tonight, so 3 in pit road here. So, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, well, of course they're going to come down at that point. I mean, it's 129-degree track temp out here. It's scorching hot in California right now in Sonoma. So I expect definitely 4 tires and fuel, but from there, the strategy definitely is open. I don't think you'll be able to go 38 laps on 90% fuel tank, so you're definitely going to have to be looking to stop at some point. Where do you want to do it earlier, time it later? It's going to be the question for sure, but the biggest thing right now is getting clean through this start because you do not want to be caught up in anything, but you do at least have that stage caution to back you up if you do.
Yeah, you brought out weather and also track temp. We're just going to take a look at it on our center top of the screen. And I got to say, looking at the weather and the way that drivers are going to be dealing with it, it's very hot. This is not what current Sonoma feels like. Current Sonoma, it is cold. It is wet, rainy, windy. It's cold. But in virtual side, it is hot. It is 88 degrees, that of ambient temperature, 129 degrees track temp, as you can see in the top right of our graphic. Zach, that is going to be hot, but also a lot of tire wear we're expecting to see, which, like you noted on, when you want to come into pit road, going to be a big factor overall once we get after that competition caution. But the drivers were told before lap 8 they can come to pit road if you decide to do so. So we could see some drivers try a little bit of strategy as we come closer and closer to lap number 8 and soon to the competition caution. Besides the comp caution, we're not expecting to see any other yellows here tonight as the drivers head downhill and going down through these S's. This is going to be a place where drivers are going to be very fast and quick, but easily can make a mistake here coming down to these boards.
We're going to see who can get out front here in the early going. It's going to be critical to get ahead heading into turn 1, but don't want to get caught up at the top of turn 2. It's going to be calamity here, and watch out for those rear tires spinning up.
It's going to be that of Brian Burshak, Kyle Bowling, Scott Rickard, Offerman, SRE. Those are going to be your top 5. Also, watch out for Chris Wade. Top 6 going to be making some big moves, but we already know it on these first couple of corners. The drama is going to be built up. You can easily see a lot of drivers drive off the course, but for the Grand Prix at Sonoma, it is time for us to go green, as it already can be seen the drivers on the loud pedal going into turn number 1 and now heading up the hill.
Big run here for Scott Rickard there in that 3rd position. He's already going to look to take position on the 44 of Kyle Bowling, get the run on the high line there, as now he'll have position down to 3A.
It's going to be a big loss for that of Chris Wade, but everyone else able to get up front in the top 5, single filed out. It's everyone from that of 5th on back, still side by side through that of 3A and 3B. Now heading downhill, hard braking zone, and this is a place where drivers could lock up and have issues, but luckily, all the drivers seem safe moving forward, and up front, it is all that of Brian Burchett. But watch out, the 05 is hot on his tail.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle all night long with who can make the least amount of mistakes. I think that's really what it's going to come down to from what I've seen from the pace from these guys. But I tell you what, a lot of pickups from practice. We'll have to see if Scott Rickard may just made a big mistake on his qualifying lap, because he had a huge gap in that practice session. When we went to qualifying, everybody else picked right up to where he was, and Brian Burchett out front not missing a beat right now.
A lot of drivers have been able to pick up some big numbers and moving forward, and you see there in the 24 making some moves. That's You know, seeing different drivers on how they're going to be attacking is going to be key on where they want to really put themselves to move forward. I'm excited to see some of these drivers that are picking and choosing what lanes they're going to be, you know, trying to make passes. It's going to be a key factor. But for lap number 1, it is all that of Brian Burchett coming out of the final couple of corners and leading lap 1. That it's crazy to think we saw all this action and it's only lap 1 and we're just that of 2 minutes into the race.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of action all around this track. It's going to be hard to keep up with, personally, as we go throughout the night, as guys battle really throughout this whole entire field. You know, you may not be battling for the lead or second or third, but you could be battling back there for 15th, and it could be one of the funnest races you ever have. Right in these stock cars, it gives you so much ability to follow behind the car closer at these lower speeds and not lose as much aerodynamic performance, as they don't rely on as much in these cars as you know a normal road car would. So you can get a little bit closer. And also another thing, these things are a handful to handle, so a mistake is waiting around any corner, and that just sets up good racing.
All these drivers knowing this is going to be a very impactful race. This is only race number 4 of the season, but these points, you can make or break the playoffs by just 1 to 2 points. And it's all about making sure you have a clean race, get the best positioning you can. Yes, you're going to have some drivers that are just quick and they're just going to be mad fast, going to be up front. But for the middle drivers that are in the middle of the pack, back of the pack, your goal has to be stay on track and don't make mistakes.
Yeah, staying on track will be the number one thing. Getting off into that sand pit will be a early possible, you know, setback for your night. You don't want to do that here early. If you want to, I mean, if you're going to do it, it's the best time is to do it now, definitely, with that stage caution coming here at lap 10. So if you're going to make a mistake, this is the time, and this is really a learning phase, I think, for a lot of these guys. You know, don't go out there and push too hard and get yourself in a mistake and lose track position if you got it. Right now, everybody doing a great job. Another driver I'm seeing moving up through, Cameron Sargent, he made a mistake on his qualifying lap, had to run the second lap, and it wasn't as that good with the tire wear. He's already started from that 10th position. He's up to 6th as he's got by Medlin.
Yeah, gets by Medlin, and now going to be moving forward. Watching out for Wade, Kyle McCoy, who is going to be rocking a different scheme here tonight. The 7 going to be able to be moving up to 9th currently. Hasn't moved any positions, but at least lingering. And I think that's going to be a key thing here for these drivers. The first couple of laps going to be very impactful, making sure you have no issues. Speaking of issues, back half of the field, issues for Max Ward and that for Travis Dart and Jason Gratton. Off-track issues for all 3 drivers, losing ground and falling backwards. For that of Max Ward, hard into the tire barriers. Looked like he locked up going into that of the hairpin. And then also for that of Jason Gratton, got spun around on the exit of the same corner. So issues for those drivers. Travis Dart went off the course about a half a lap ago for that of the 209. So 3 drivers in the back half of the field, issues for both.
Early incidents here at Sonoma. Here it's a track that, like I said, it has short track tendencies. You can really have these stack ups. Drivers make a mistake, somewhere has nowhere to go, and it causes a major incident, as you see great racing throughout this whole entire field. And Travis Dart, he's going to have a long way to come back from this in the 209. Same with Max Ward and Jason Gratton. But like I said, with that stage caution coming, if you're going to make a mistake, this is the time to do it. You're going to be able to get right back up to your competition, and you can't let the mistake phase you. It's so easy as a road course, on these road courses, to get your mind on, you know, off of what you need to be doing. You need to have all focus on these apexes, making sure you're putting the power down nicely. Because at one moment you start to think, oh, I'm frustrated about this, it's going to be a huge mistake again, and it's only going to lead to your demise.
Yeah, you know, we'll look at the drivers trying to minimize those mistakes, trying to at least get a good run for themselves. The 10 here of Chris Essery, gotta say, you know, started off strong this season with the first 2 races, got the pole position at Daytona and Michigan. Didn't have the best run he wanted, you know, last week, but still gained points. Currently, Chris Essery 9th in points with 1 top 10, looking to get some more action for himself. But I gotta say, though, what we're excited about, what the end of the year has brought us, great new graphics. Big credit to our producer, that of Robert Moyer, giving us this shot, being able to see the drivers on board. And Zach, we've been able to see this throughout the season, what drivers are doing. Here at Sonoma, it seems like it's a lot more of actually driving instead of communicating with teammates like we've seen these past 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see his mouth moving very much. He's gonna be definitely, as you can see, his eyes. That's one of the biggest things I'm noticing. The triple screens, the great thing. He's looking to the apex of the corner. Now he'll take his focus back straight down the straightaway, and that's the key of these road courses. If you're not looking at to where you're going to be going, you're not going to make that point of the corner. And I think this is one of the most fascinating things, especially for our driver cam aspect. We get to see their eyes, and we get to see how they follow the racetrack, how they work the wheel. You can see Chris Essery running in fourth year. Yeah, he's running all by himself here, but he's got a handful. He's working the wheel, shifting left and right, hitting his braking points. This is impressive stuff to see, and just some great stuff we continue to bring here for you Fast Broadcast.
Yeah, speaking of working those hands, as we're on lap 4, as we are about halfway from pit road being closed and about 6 laps from us ending our first, you could say, stage of this race. But Zach, we're seeing those hands really being worked a lot, and I'm curious, we always talk on the different things these drivers can work on and adjust. This is a fixed setup league, so there's not a lot that you can work on. But a factor that we never really touched on for drivers that have racing wheels is force feedback. How much is that going to be something that these drivers can work with? And as well, what is force feedback for people that might not know?
Yeah, so force feedback, first of all, a simple explanation. It is the force that we get back from the simulator, from the tires on the racing surface. It's that force that we get back to give us the detail and the feeling. What it is almost like the wheel is weighted. Once you start to slide, the wheel get a little bit light, you get a little bit tighter, you start to push the nose and the car doesn't grip up, you feel the wheel weight get heavy. And it's really amazing. iRacing personally, top notch with the force feedback when it comes to sim racing. I've done a lot of different other sim titles, and there's definitely some that lack in that area, and iRacing doesn't lack in that area. It gives you the great fidelity and feel that you need. But that's something they can adjust, Sam. We hear a lot of times at these tracks, it's such a different method of driving and turning the wheel more than we normally would. Like you said, he's cranking on that wheel a lot more than we normally see, kind of. So you're going to see a lot of different guys tweak on that force feedback. Try to get it dialed in, not too heavy. You don't want to get the tired out. Especially if you got a wheel too heavy out here, you can especially tire your arms out and be in a tough position coming around lap 40. So you might want to find that lighter position, a little bit lighter wheel around these road courses, and be able to have a quicker turn in, also a little bit quicker reaction. Another place where they have that also adjustment is the steering ratio. We can adjust that with these fixed setups along with our brake bias and steering offset. Those are our 3 adjustments that we get inside our race cars. And I can tell you for a fact, that steering ratio is a big factor here. This track here, I personally like to turn it up and get a quicker steering box to have a little bit more reaction time and feel like you can catch the car when it starts to break loose, because you've seen it from Chris Essery. It was left, right, going down the straightaways. You can only imagine how it's going to continue to get worse as we're on lap 5 of 48. So, tire wear going to be a huge factor here soon.
That it is, and now we're seeing some battles that are on screen currently. Andrew Medlin, Kyle McCoy, and as well that of Chris Wade, going to be 3 drivers that have been on screen for quite a while. And also you see on our ticker, there has not been a change for the lead. If that is actually still the live timing, Brian Burchett has done a great job staying out front of Scott Rickard, even though he's been hounded. And Scott's trying to force a mistake here from the 33, but great racing overall. Little different packs that are starting to group up, it seems like. You got the battle for the lead, as well as the battle that's currently going on. We're back there for 7th. Little different packs of drivers battling with one another, but currently no passing for drivers to go a lap down, except for Max Ward, who just had to come back into pit road. Same for that of Doug Pierce. But Zach, I've got to say, for that of Brian Burchett, big kudos to the 33 for being able to hold on for as long as he has.
Oh, no doubt. We thought Scott Rickard was definitely the favorite, and the driver I was looking the best is, big slide there from Brian Burchett on the exit of the corner there. That's going to let Scott Rickard close in just that gap a little bit. I talked about being easy to follow, or easier to follow than most road course runner. This track here, it does actually lean a little bit on that dirty air side. I've been in this position that Brian Burchett is in before, and it's kind of a cat and mouse game here. You know the driver behind you, he's really quick too, but you don't want to try to drive away from him. If you drive away from him, you're just going to burn your stuff up. You almost want to park the apexes, get the good runs off, save your tires, keep them right in that dirty air where they're trying to get the best run they can possible off the corner, and that's going to lead to their rear tires sooner or later falling off. So right here in this position, Scott Rickard, he's close, and he's in position. If Burchett makes a mistake, that's really what he's trying to do. But the big thing for him is that this run continues on and Burchett doesn't make that mistake, his tires are going to get worse and worse running right directly behind him. But I tell you what, the closer he gets, the more the pressure turns up, and that's when you start to see mistakes happen at road courses.
Oh, absolutely. And for that of Brian Burchett, he needs a great run. Currently comes into the night with that of 26th in points and a win. Zach, that could be putting this 33 into the playoffs, even running back in 26th in points with only one top 10, but not the finishes that the 33 has been wanting to have. And it was a struggle that was actually going on last season that's carried over. 33's done a little bit of a change, and that's what we kind of liked about this Cup Series, is that these Cup cars give an opportunity for anyone to have a chance to win, but oh no, a mistake by the 33. Burchett into that of the gravel, and immediately in a blink of an eye, one mistake that Scott Ricker was waiting for, snatches the lead just like that.
Yeah, and that's what we were waiting for. Scott Rickard, he was taking the chance to run in the dirty air that close, trying to put the power down in those situations, and it worked out. He's now has the clean air. Now he is the driver out front that's going to dictate the pace of this race, and we'll see what he can do if he can run away and try to get away from this field. But we got to remember that stage caution coming up here in a couple laps. But Rickard, great spot now, but he's going to have a little bit of pressure as Burchett is right back to the back bumper. And looking back at our data from Watkins Glen last season in the Xfinity car, it was Burchett on pole, Scott Rickard in second to start that race. Rickard got the best of him in the race, but Burchett having a tough race there at Watkins Glen, finished 21st. So, man, he gave up the lead there this time, but at least he's got some laps let in that he did not get by sitting on the pole at Watkins Glen.
Also want to give note, this is lap 8. End of this lap, pit road will be closing once the leader comes across the line, and some drivers already come into pit road. Max Ward, Doug Pierce both came in, not feeling most comfortable, and a little bit of damage for both. Coming in, that was inside of our top 15, and also one of our drivers that has been very quick, Dylan Grimm in the 23 into pit road, gets service done. Could be a strategy call, try to get some track position for Dylan Grimm coming into pit road at this time as we wait for other drivers coming down the hill. Again, we wait for Scott Rickard to come across the line. Then pit road will be closed, but on the move, see Kyle Bowlings out of Chris Essery. Essery's been putting down some very quick lap times, and he's got to make sure he gets moving because Sarton's also on the move behind that of the 10.
Yeah, we're definitely having some drivers pick up the pace here later into the run and get the consistency up to Sarton. Not the greatest qualifying run for him, but man, he's made up for it here in the race, making his way up into this top 5. And like you said, starting to close that gap down. We'll see if he can continue his drive forward. But man, that strategy from Dylan Grimm, it's going to be an interesting one. He's got to be careful here. He took the tires. It's going to be 2 laps more on those tires than the rest of the field. And I can tell you what, that's going to be a significant amount. This track here eats the tires off any lap you can get back you want. He's got to go out here and run really, really slow and try to conserve as much as possible. He does have a good-sized gap back to Scott Rickard to, stay on the lead lap, but just cannot use too much of those tires. That's going to be the key here. If he wants to utilize that track position, he will gain.
Well, a massive pot of drivers all just came into pit road, being led by Derek Offerman, Nick Holland, Andrew Medlin, and also Ken Campbell, all coming into pit road, going to be taking service. Again, they have not been indicated just yet that pit road is closed, but all these drivers coming in, getting service done before the indication is given out. And this is a gutsy call for some of these drivers, but track position and forcing some of these faster drivers to go through traffic, this is going to be massive, but also puts the drivers that just came in pit road in a very tricky spot, getting back out on track, making sure they don't run into the traffic that's been just running there on course.
Yeah, this is something we very much see similar on TV with the NASCAR Cup Series with their stage racing. You're going to have drivers that are not really racing for stage points and, trying to get points, even though there's no points awarded here tonight for this stage. There's going to be drivers that have that motive of, I'm going to go out there and it's all about track position, getting the lead after this caution comes out and plays through. A lot of people played that pick strategy, right? Like you said, Sam, it came down. This is going to put the leader like Scott Rickard way farther back than he probably wants to, and he's not gaining anything by staying out here other than having the fresher tires. He will have the pace advantage, but it's just going to put you in an interesting situation that I personally would not want to be in.
Oh, absolutely not. As some of our closest battles that are happening right now, you see this cluster currently. This is 13th on back. Mike Lynch also seeing the 3 of John Offerman. All the drivers that just came into pit road going to be all in this train currently. And this is now, we're on the lap. This is technically the white flag of what would be our competition caution or stage 1. Scott Rickard still ahead by a little bit over a little bit under a full second. But Zach, we're starting to see these pods, the drivers decided to come into pit road. They took fresh tires, And you can see how much of an advantage it is over the drivers that have been able to stay out for these 8 laps, excuse me.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage, man. I mean, it's seconds per lap. Right now, you got our leader, Scott Rickard, running a 1:43 flat. Started this race running a 1:40.64, so that's 3 seconds of fall off there in these tires. And yeah, that makes a huge difference around this 2.5 mile course. And unfortunate thing I did see as we were just having that sequence happen, Ken Campbell, our 3-time winner, three in a row to start the season off for the season opener. He has lost connection to the server. He looks like he's got back in, but man, the first big, I'd say, blip in his season so far, Sam, here.
Well, absolutely, and his goal, get back out on track. If he can log back in, get back into his car, get moving, could be the first. And there goes the 2 off course. Mike Lynch, issues in the hard braking zone, coming down off of turn number 2 into turn 3 into turn 4. The 2 machine off course, but now coming at it the last corner of turn 12. Scott Rickard's going to be coming across the line, expecting to see the yellow be thrown here quickly, as the end of stage, what technically would be stage 1, has now concluded, as now we wait for the yellow flag to be waved, and there it comes. Ken Campbell, this could be a luck for the 15. Again, he had already come into pit road before he got disconnected, so he's going to have fresh tires, but he's got to hope that he can get going and moving and get back in that car before he goes another lap down.
Yeah, this caution is going to help here slow down the pace of the field. Still going to go a few laps down nonetheless, but man, just unfortunate for Ken Campbell to get disconnected there. But like I said, the fortunate timing is he does have a stage caution here. If it was green, he'd be in a way worse position. But we'll see how this all plays out now with the pit strategies here, Sam. This is going to get wild with these guys hitting pit road for tires, while the rest of some of these other guys played the other strategy that they're going to stay out here now. So going to see a mixed bags for sure.
Absolutely. Well, as we're seeing Scott Rickard trying to run down this course and catch up to the pace car, we're going to step aside, take a quick break, and when we come back, pit roads should be extremely busy, and we'll see the drivers that decide to come into pit road early. Do they get an advantage, or will they just miss out on gaining anything on the drivers ahead of them? We'll find out in just a few here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stars and Stripes Cup Series at that of the Grand Prix of Sonoma at Sonoma Raceway. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is that of Zach Hall, and drivers have just been notified they are got the one to go. Lights are off, and that means if you have not caught up to the field, you got to get racing now. Zach, we were looking at, during the commercial break, pits road was busy, had everyone coming to pit road that had not come in before the quote-unquote stage break. And those drivers did not really advance anywhere. Andrew Medlin, the biggest mover of those that came in before, and he's right back to where he was at before, 6th place. Not much of a gain for the 12 machine, even with the gutsy call of coming to pit road right when pit road closed. So mainly, you didn't have enough time to catch up to the field, so you didn't really gain much. You're technically at a disadvantage coming into this restart.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for these guys who have played that strategy. Now they've kind of made their bed, and the old saying is you got to lay in it now. So they're going to have older tires in no real advancement. Even Dylan Graham, 11th position. He was running right around that area when he pulled this strategy. Yeah, Sam, that's got to be a kick to their morale to hear tonight and say, man, maybe we got this one a little wrong.
Yeah, as we are going to be riding on board with that of Andrew Medlin here on this restart, as driver's going to be getting ready to go. As I got to say, this is going to be an interesting restart for these drivers, as they're actually going to be giving waiver rounds to some of the drivers here. It looks like as a waiver round is going to be given to Ken Campbell and Max Ward, which is going to be putting Ken Campbell back on the lead lap, I believe, once this waiver round goes through. But race control's talking to the drivers. They actually added a new lap on top of this. So we're not going this time by. We're still waiting on when we're going to get the true to go because the field is not fully collected back up. And so race control, they're doing their best to make sure everyone's collected and ready to go when we go for another restart, which is kind of helping the drivers that had already came into pit road before our stage break, allowing them to cool off those tires. But you see Ken Campbell, he's just past everybody. We're also waiting for Max Ward to do the same exact thing. Zach, we might not go for a restart here for our next couple of laps.
Yeah, I was just starting to think that, Sam. They waved them around there. At that point, they may have to extend this a whole nother lap here due to letting them catch up, because it's going to go to 1 degree in here now. We'll see if they do extend it, but I would kind of expect that if they want those guys to catch up. But man, we were riding on board here watching Andrew Medlin under his pace laps, and I can tell just from watching the body language of driving around, like, he's still upbeat. He's got his, he's still with it and ready to go. But I felt like I could see the frustration of knowing, man, I was running 6th. I just tried to pull a strategy, to get that track position, maybe gain something on the guys ahead of him, and it didn't work out. And now he sits behind. He's like, man, I kind of just did a 1 lap, early lap, burn-in lap for the tires. So we'll see how it works out for him, but his pace should keep him in a good range still.
Yeah, and you kind of saw what you were talking about, like staying in a good mood. That communication, I think, with teammates is a big thing, especially when you're under caution. That's the one thing that's kind of different with these road courses. There's some leagues that will not throw out a competition caution, and then there's other races, other leagues that do exactly what we're seeing here, where there is a comp caution, try to collect everyone up so there's at least 1 green flag pit stop at the end of this race. And it gives you time to strategize, also see what your tire wear was like. This caution and the pit stop these drivers had, so much information you can grab that you can send to the rest of the race.
And it looks like we did get that extension here, Sam. So they're going to extend it another lap here. So we're going to continue to pace around the Sonoma Raceway here tonight. And Scott Rickard, this is a weird position to be in for him also. You're the leader, you got to the lead, and you didn't have the best qualifying spot there in 3rd like you wanted to be up front, but you finally got up there. But now you got to go through a restart and hope no mistakes are made. And Brian Burchett, he's going to have a prime opportunity to get something done here on a restart.
Oh, absolutely. And also, Ken Campbell, like we noted on, got disconnected from the server, then was able to get reconnected, was 2 laps down when he got back into the server, and race admins actually gave back the 15 those positions. So Ken Campbell, he is back on track, but he's going to be all the way back in 24th, going to be starting at the end of the line, and now we'll see where drivers want to lie. Seeing some cutting the course, trying to get themselves an advantage. I believe That was Max Ward, who is got a wave around again. Finally caught up to the field to utilize that wave around. So the 59 trying to run down the field once again.
Definitely some interesting strategies utilized there by the lappers trying to get their laps back here as they get waved back around. Is we'll see if this time is the real one to green here. Is I'm sure a lot of drivers are getting antsy. This is a lot of pacing, and these tires are going to be very, very cold when we go in here. And that's something you brought up about the guys who pitted earlier. Will help them. This will bring a little bit of life back into the tire. The wear is still going to be there. But the real big thing you fight a lot of times at these racetracks is not the tire wear. It is actually the tire temperature. And when you get these pace laps right here, you can actually cool them down a good bit, and there will be a lot of grip here to start off. But we'll see at some point those older tires will start to show a little bit of age, I believe, at some point. But here at the beginning, I think they should fire off pretty well.
I was looking at the times that we were pacing so much. When and who in the back was thinking about maybe coming into pit road, top off with fuel, maybe take some fresh tires. They've got 3 sets of pit road to work with. You're expected only to take, 1 green flag pit stop. With all this pacing, we're still expecting at least 1 pit stop, but it might be a much later than expected. And into pit road this last time by was that of Trey Jackson, Aaron Hale, Travis Butt. Those 3 drivers topping off with fuel. And for Travis Butt, he's going to be all the way back in 23rd, but took 4 fresh tires here. So interesting call for drivers that are further back. Now he's got to race up and catch up to the field, but he's going to be able to have these tires warmed up by the time he gets to the end of the field, and we're about to go green.
Ooh, it's going to be close for sure, Sam. And if I can remember correctly from past race here, I believe it's around 32, 34 laps for a tank of fuel here. They got a 90% fuel load. So I think it's going to be closer for these guys to make it to the end here, but you never know. I mean, you could save a lot of fuel on a road course, especially different driving styles. We'll have to see how it plays out for the guys who topped off there, but, hey, heck of a strategy. Why not play that and see if it can work out for you? Right now, though, Scott Ricker going to be in control. Brian Burchett, let's see if he can get back to the point here.
It'll be that of Scott Rickard, Brian Burchett, Kyle Bowling, as well as that of Cameron Sarton, Chris Essery, and Chris Wade going to be your top 6. Get ready to go green here at Sonoma. It's the Grand Prix of Sonoma at Sonoma Raceway for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. We're done with the stage racing. It's all about racing it to the end. Burchett, that of also Scott Rickard are on the loud pedal. We're green and already seeing the 05. Gonna be up front as we ride on board with that of Andrew Medlin. Climbing up the hill into turn 1 and 2. This is a danger zone. They're with cold tires, and here they come into the braking zone.
Oh, a little bit of lockup smoke up ahead here. Great line by Medlin. Keeps it nice and tight here. Heading down the 3A. Dips down right to the apex. Heads up over the crest of the 3B. But guess what? Next up, it's going to be turn number 4. One of the hardest braking zones is downhill and falling to the right. That right front tire just wants to lock up all day. And spinning the tires here, very easy.
And I saw Chris Essery trying to make some big moves. Was not able to, as he actually was blocked by starting ahead. And now everyone up front gonna be single file, finding their lanes, moving, where these drivers are at currently. We're starting to see them moving forward. But Zach, we were talking about, keeping themselves in a good move. Look at that of Medlin's face. Focus, ready to go halfway through this course as we've gone on this restart.
And that's why I love the driver cam, Sam. You can see the intensity is picked up. He was all calm under the pace laps. Now those eyes intently staring into those monitors and those arms working that direct drive wheel there back and forth, man. It's a great sight to see, and this is something I love that we're bringing to the broadcast, and especially road courses here where you get to see the driver really go to work in their cockpit. And Andrew Medlin on those older tires, remember pitted a lap earlier? He's really driving his heart out now.
Doing his best currently to continue to race on as you see him going through the hairpin of turn 11 up to turn 12 and now coming across the line. We're seeing the early goings. It's that of Scott Rickard ahead, but up through the back of the field, middle of the group currently, this is 10th place, Derek Offerman, who's kind of in just a waiting place. Doesn't really know where he wants to place himself currently. He's got to pick and choose when he wants to start making the move forward, but also as that of Dylan Grimm. Grimm going to be in 11th place and currently on those older tires, same as Nick Holland and also that of Medlin.
Yeah, Grimm was that first driver to hit pit road, so we're about to see how those tires can hang on in that 23 machine. And, a Final Four contender last season, He's showing out with some speed here tonight at Sonoma at the road course. That's good to see these drivers showing speed not only at the mile and a half, the short tracks, the regular ovals that we go to, but you know, it's cool to see drivers bring speed to other tracks too out here on these road courses. Is they go through the carousel, one of my favorite corners, man. That thing is just a roller coaster as they wind down the drag strip.
Yeah, I mean, they are getting going very quickly here as we see, you know, some of the other drivers that are trying to make their moves forward, seeing that of Brian Lynch, Nate Lynch, both going to be running in that of 12th and 13th. And for that of Nate Lynch, biggest mover points-wise last week, as currently 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s for the 25 machine. He's going to try to continue on with that momentum and speed. I got to say, this is a great, you know, change-up for Nate Lynch, who continued on with his momentum that he had carrying over from that of the Xfinity cars last season. And that consistency certainly moving over as Trey Jackson back in 18th place, one of those drivers that popped off with fuel coming to that 1 to go. Currently 31, going to be back in 18th position. And driver to watch out for is going to be 24 on the car, but 00 on our ticker, Travis Butt. Talked about how he took 4 tires and now trying to make the move on that of George Kovacic back in 19th place behind the 31.
Yeah, trying to make his way forward. Remember, he also topped off, like you said, and took the 4 tires. There's goes around the outside there behind Trey Jackson, the 24, the 00 of Travis Butt there, making the position. We'll see if they can make it on fuel. I don't think it's going to be possible. Just, you know, calculating in my brain, it just seems like it's going to come a little bit short there with the way those caution laps played out. But nonetheless, it's going to be an interesting strategy. They could just take, you know, they could splash and go, maybe gain some time here at the end of the race. But, man, right now, a lot of battles throughout the field, and this place just offers so many opportunities to pass there. Just look at Aaron Hill also on the 4. He's also one of the drivers who topped off. Looks like we got a driver off track there. Looks like that's Mike Lynch.
Mike Lynch, same spot he went off last time before we got the stage break, and issues already going to be hitting that of the 2, falling back to 22nd position. And you know, for some drivers, you hope that you learn from your mistake. Was not going to be thrown out, and man, difficult spot for Mike Lynch.
Yeah, Sam, and that corner is just it's downhill. It falls away from the camber racetrack. So right there, all the weight wants to transfer to the left front tire. As that does, that right front tire picks up. You lose all the grip, and it just goes straight from there. And also, you got the gravel in the sand right there at the exit curve. You know, most tracks we've seen nowadays, road courses, they got major runoffs. We've seen the Watkins Glen update just came out. They got major runoffs at every single corner. This track here, it penalizes you for a mistake. You stick a tire off, you're going to be in trouble. And the driver who's took advantage of, looks like this competition caution, that's the 13 Cameron Sargent. He's broke his way up to the top 3 here, Sam. What a try for him, man.
Yeah, Cameron Sargent going to be our biggest mover of the night, up 7 positions. Also going to be tied with 3 of Shalano, who's going to be back in 15th position, up 7 spots. So you're starting to see some drivers, like we noted on, maybe didn't have the best qualifying time after mistakes. They're now starting to make the move forward, and with that comp caution now, Sargent, who was about 6.5 seconds back from our leader before the comp caution, now less than a second away from Scott Rickard. And what was interesting to watch, currently on that last lap, it was that of Chris Essery and that of Cameron Sargent that had the fastest lap of all the drivers. Interested to see how Cameron Sargent wants to attack here, as well as that of Essery. How well are they going to be able to save these tires for the later runs? Because it's not just a 10-lap shootout. We are racing it all the way to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think that's why you're seeing a little bit less of the spreading out. We've seen the 2 top leaders, the 33 and the 05, before take off, drive away from the field, get about a 2-second gap back to that next car. But man, right now, everybody in this top 5, even top 6, right on top of each other, exiting out of the penultimate corner. And I think this is a little bit of cat and mouse game, like I said. You know, I think Scott Rickard right now out front, he's running the pace he needs to keep the lead. He does not need to go out here and burn his tires up. This is going to be a major long run. This, like you said, is going to the end of the race. You're going to run the most lap on a set of tires here at this point. Scott Rickard definitely planning for that, I believe, in this moment.
I noted on the fact that you can take a lot of information from stage racing, and most of the time the stage racing, that's at mile-and-a-half courses or other leagues that we cover, usually that stage is one fuel stint where you are pushing the tires to the maximum length. These drivers did not push it to their maximum length and fuel. It was just a short stint to let you see who really is the fastest driver. As you see there, Sartin right on the back bumper, giving a little bit of a shove to the 33, who goes off course for a quick moment. And here comes Sartin to the inside. Great move by the 13, but puts the 33 in a tricky spot. But I'm wondering here, Zach, maybe in that short stint, drivers thought, hey, I could push a little bit more with the way that I was saving my tires. It could be backfiring later on.
Yeah, no, that mindset is, like you said, it can completely set you up for that. If I knew I had a 10-lap run, I'm going to run way harder than what I would run at this portion of the run, because I know we're not going to get a caution here. We're going all the way to the end. And look at that Burchett. He repays the favor of the 13 to Sartin. And I tell you who loves this is Scott Rickard. He's got a 2-second, almost 3-second lead as these guys continue to battle with each other. I would expect down here, maybe in the hairpin, again, this 13 maybe to get a little bumper.
Hey, you can get a little bit more aggressive, maybe shove someone off the course. These drivers in this league, a little bit of a change coming into this season. It was plate races and that of road courses where drivers have a fast repair to work with. So some of these drivers might feel like, hey, I can rough you up because you might have to go into pit road and use a little bit of help. Is right on the back quarter panel, and there goes the 33, loose into the outside wall. Burchett having issues as there goes the 10. Etzori up to the top 3.
Yeah, and again, Burchett just crumbling here as the race goes on. A little bit of a mistake is going to slide him farther back throughout the field. So much pace here at the road courses, but just has not been able to put it together for a full race yet. He's got some damage with a little bit of a hit to the outside wall. It's let Esther get up to that 3rd position. Right now, he's got to focus forward because he's got Kyle McCoy there directly behind. And McCoy, he's definitely looking to make some noise here as our past year's champion. Has not had the start of the season I think he's won.
Absolutely not. This is race 4 for Kyle McCoy, and he has, for the first 3 starts of the race, 0 poles, 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, and is all the way back in 35th position in points. The 7, changing up the scheme for himself, and gonna need a change up in the way that he's been racing and finishing. Right now, for the 7 Kyle McCoy, he needs to get every point possible if he wants a chance to defend his championship that he got last season.
Yeah, and he came off such a strong ending too, Sam. I mean, we talked about how it was just clutchness from this guy. He had a great regular season, but when we went to the playoffs, it was like a light switch, and he was just on top of it, and nobody could touch him at that point. So right now, he's trying to get back to that point. It's tough to get there. Also with the car change and a completely different car, I must add. This car drives night and day different to that Xfinity car. He's definitely trying to get a hang of it. I give him a few more races, and he'll be right back where he left off in the Xfinity series.
Yeah, I mean, Xfinity season series, end of the season, it was all Kyle McCoy that had the biggest streak and won the championship. But if we talk about regular season and a driver that had one of the biggest streak of 3 wins in a row, we're riding on board with that of the 68 of Nick Holland. You know, his streak that he went on, it was very much for Nick Holland, where he was clutch at the end as well. That is one of the biggest factors for these drivers, placing yourself in a situation where you can get a win. Nick Holland this season go around, it's a lot more of just stay consistent and run your own race, as the ticker saw a huge shift up. Brian Burchett just dropped 2 more positions, 33 now down to 7th. It is just tumbling down, and if anything, Zach, for Brian Burchett, a little bit of deja vu on how his Watkins Glen race went, of being up front early on, fell back very quickly once he lost that lead position, as we still right on board with the Taco Bell 68 of Nick Holland.
Oh, it's so easy to do, Sam. You know, I talked about earlier, you let one mistake cloud your brain. You know, at one moment you could have a mistake, then all of a sudden mistakes start to compile on each other if you just let it take over your mindset. You have to keep a clear mindset around this racetrack. Hit your marks, because the last corner doesn't matter. If you go into the next corner thinking about the last corner, you're not going to hit the next corner right, in my opinion. And it's just going to lead to just trouble as the race continues on. So got to keep focused and that clear mindset always here at these road courses. And Sonoma, it's one that will really tear you up inside if you start making a few mistakes.
And Mr. Consistent, I could say, from last season, driver that went on the longest streak of top 10 finishes, that of Derek Offerman, trying to continue, you know, having a decent run for himself. Hasn't been the strongest season. Again, kind of similar to that of Kyle McCoy, with not finishing in the top 10 at all throughout these first 3 races. Trying to change things up is the that of the 20 machine, running in 9th place in the top 10. A lot of these drivers that we were expected to run well, like Kyle McCoy, Derek Offerman, also you could say Mark Beverly and a couple of other drivers, they have not been showing up in the ways we were expecting. But Zach, like you noted on, completely different cars from what we were covering last season, the Xfinity cars to the Cup machines that run pretty similar to what you would say the trucks are, where we saw absolute dominance from that of Scott Rickard, who's leading the way currently. But Derek Offerman, gotta say, this is going to be a very tricky race for this 20 machine. But consistency, he's got not a lot of really pressure from behind from Nick Holland, but he can see the 12 ahead of him.
And you can see that 12 of Andrew Medlin up ahead, and he's been a little bit quicker these last few laps. Medlin on the older tires, so we're going to see him starting to probably struggle here the more this run goes on. And remember, we're talking about guys picking it up as the season goes on, and picking up the car change. I think it's going to get important to see. We've had some really different racetracks. We went to Daytona in Michigan. You could almost say they're pretty similar, but then we went to Atlanta, completely different than Michigan. And then we go to Sonoma. I mean, those are two of the most opposite tracks you can have. Then we'll go off to Pocono next week, Kentucky and Chicagoland. So I think you start to get there at Kentucky and Chicagoland, start to get into that mix of some normal tracks. We'll see. I think a few of those guys who maybe not started off the season the best for themselves start to regain, get that momentum. All it takes is one good finish. That's all it takes, my friends. Especially in this Cup car. This car a lot of times is all about confidence, because it just takes such bold moves to make passes. And if you don't have that confidence, you're not going to be able to put yourself in position to race well. So I expect some, like we said, drivers who are struggling right now to pick it up as that season goes on and pick this car up more and more as the laps are turned.
And speaking of drivers they're trying to pick it up, Travis Dart all the way back in 22nd position. He's going to be a driver that's going to be picking up. We've been seeing on board of the drivers that are further ahead. They've been running well. Well, here's that of Travis Dart running for the 29 machine and seeing his point of view. Again, all the different drivers having the different styles of wheels. I think that's the one thing that we really don't touch on that much, is that wheels themselves could be a factor on what can help some of these drivers. And for some, it's a big help. Others, they don't see a major difference. But we're seeing that of Travis Dart currently back in 22nd place and kind of in no man's land. But for some drivers, this is where they feel the most comfortable.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, out here by yourself, just running nice, consistent, practice laps. And I tell you, this usually is a race of attrition. This race is a long one still to go here, and a few guys might drop out that you might not have the pace on them to get that position. But if they drop out of this race and disconnect or put their car behind the wall, then you can gain that spot. So right now, in my opinion, the best thing for someone like Travis Starr to do is just keep putting laps in. And that's how you're going to definitely gain not only speed, but you might gain a few positions at that. And you brought up the wheel thing, Sam. That I think that's a critical thing. You see different wheel setups for each drivers out there a lot of times. We've seen Andrew Miller on the huge stock car rim. And then you see Travis Dart there. He's got a little bit more of a less diameter rim. That's going to be a little bit quicker steering ratio, so it should actually in turn help him a little bit more on these road courses. Whereas that wider diameter is going to help a little bit, give a little bit of stability at the bigger tracks. So it's always interesting to see the different changes and stuff. I know some drivers, they'll change to a formula rim here in a stock car when they race around track sites just to get that quicker turn in and sharper steering. Then when they go back to the ovals, they'll switch to the big rim. So it's always fascinating, exciting to see when we got these cams like that.
Oh, the switching up of rims, that is exactly what my older brother does when he races. He's got himself an F1 rim style wheel, and then he's also got a stock car wheel for those oval races. And we're now going to be, we've seen all the different drivers where they're lying currently. We see that of Kyle McCoy, but we're going to move up and see the battling for top three. Currently, really, it's the battle for second as Sartin under pressure from that of Chris Essery. This has been a great battle. These guys have been the closest on track against one another for this whole entire restart, and they've been this close since practically the start of the race. It has been constant racing action between Chris Essery and that of Cameron Sartin for second and third.
I tell you, they've been racing hard too, Sam, but they've been gaining. They were almost 3 seconds back on Scott Rickard at one point when we seen the action between Burchett and the 13 Cameron Sargent. So right now, this is setting up really nice as they have continued to reel that gap in. I think Rickard is holding himself back here a little bit. On a road course like a place like this, it's easy to go out there and chase lap time and run fast laps. It's better almost to reel yourself back in, let the pack catch up, and then try not to make mistakes when they get to you. See if that's the strategy. He pulls his big mistake for starts in there on the front straightaway. He's starting to lose the rear with those rear tires. And again, they could be pushing harder, burning up their equipment.
Absolutely, as that last lap, it was actually that Scott Ricker that ran faster and is pulling away. And the mistake by Sarden now also going to be influencing that of Chris Essery, who might have to get aggressive here as they're going up and down into that of 3A and 3B. And now coming across the rumble strips. Drivers got to be careful not to hit the rumble strips too hard, as that could unsettle the car, coming immediately into this hard braking zone. C13 holding strong in the Tin Cup machine. And also, we noted on, we might see some drivers come to pit road to top up with fuel. First of the drivers that was on the lead lap to do so, Ken Campbell, comes in, gets tires, tops up with fuel. We'll see if anyone else wants to decide to do so as we continue to ride on the bumper of Chris Essery, who's thinking about possibly making the move. Here it comes, up against up the drag strip and into this hard corner.
It looks like Essery going to get the position there from Sargent, and Sargent says, you know, you take it, I'm struggling with the rear tires. See if you can do anything with Scott Rickard up here. Yeah, Sargent, he seems to have really good takeoff speed in that 13 machine, but it does seem like it starts to burn the rears as near the end of that last stage caution. He did start to fall off with his pace. But I tell you what, Chris Essery, who's now up the second, got to give him definitely a huge round of applause, man. He has picked up his program since switching to the A car also this season. Very much similar to Kim Campbell. Hasn't gotten victory lane yet, but those 2 poles and now possibly a first podium finish, it could be on the way up for him, as didn't have the greatest Xfinity showing.
No, it really wasn't. There was a lot of high hopes and a lot of fans coming in for that of Chris Essery. Expected to see him do well in the Xfinity car, and like I said, really didn't have the performance that he wanted. And now, currently, comes into the night with a great run, tied with 9th with that of Travis Dart. So, with Travis Dart struggling currently, could be seeing the 10, bump himself up and solidifying either that 9th or even more positions could be grabbed, as a couple of other drivers that are ahead of him in points did not show up here tonight for this race. But we were noting on the fact that it seemed like it was Sarton who was our biggest mover of the night. Well, as we looked further back in the field, gotta say the 3 of John Shalano, biggest mover currently up 8 positions. In front of him is the 42 of Dylan Glass. Both these drivers trying to just slowly march their way forward, but I think they might have stalled out where they're at.
Yeah, it seems like they have started to stall out since they've got to those positions. And anytime you can gain more than 5 positions at a road course from where you started, it's a good day in my opinion. And I tell you, Shalano, he's done a great job in that 3 machine from 22nd to 14th, and he's really starting to put the pressure on Dylan Glass in this 42, who with one mistake could be right there. And I tell you, it goes a little wide almost, or I don't know if that's an interesting line. Sometimes you see a little bit different line out here in this part of the racetrack, and definitely Dylan Glass using different parts of the racetrack, and looks interesting, man. I gotta say, might have to try that sometime.
Yeah, I mean, there's different things to test out for sure, especially when you're just searching for any type of speed, knowing that you've got yourself a major gap in front of you. It's about almost 5 seconds now between that of Dylan Glass and Brian Lynch for 12th and 13th. And then also behind, these drivers, yes, Nate Lynch is starting to gain up, but you have a little bit of wiggle room on testing different lines. But I want to give the big credit to Shalano and Glass. Both drivers, highest movers of those that did not come in and do a qualifying lap, so great job for themselves. As we see that of the 6'6", John Dart back in that of 16th place, making his moves forward. And as well, a couple of other drivers trying to make some magic for themselves further behind them, side by side down through the S's, downhill. It's Butt and Hale. They continue to stay side by side. Zach, this is not a place where you want to stay side by side for long.
No, it is not, Sam. And they're going to go side by side down through the high speed. Right-hander down into the left-hander. Looks like Butt going to have the position, but he goes wide. Gets into the dirt a little bit. Hale going to have the run here, and he's going to get to the position now as they head down there. Butt driving on the outside. What great racing we got back here for this 18th spot.
Oh, if Hale just decided to move up, pinch just a little bit more, we could have seen that of Travis Butt right into the water barrels. But instead, we're seeing the 24 out on track currently, but the 00 on our ticker. Travis Butt right on the back bumper. Yes, he lost the position to the 4, but you can see he's hunting and hounding to get that position back.
Oh man, he's trying to find grip in places there is not, and he wants the position back. But if you keep doing that, the tires are not going to last. And you can see now struggling, gets onto the corner of the curb, and now really struggling. As behind him, George Kovacic is saying, "Oh man, I'm just trying to survive this." Also, as the double zero really starting to struggle for Travis Butt here with that mistake.
Absolutely. And as we've been watching this great racing that's going on, it seems to be major issues for the 33 that of Brian Burchett. We noted on the fact that he was going backwards quickly after being on, just struggling for himself. Came into pit road, still into pit road, the 33. This is a disaster for himself. I went back, couldn't find a reason why he had to come into pit road, but might be just calling it quits early on.
Yeah, I believe he may just be calling it quits here, Sam, or maybe something has come up for sure. But man, that's unfortunate for Brian to get another great showing in qualifying here at a road course, but not the race result to go along with it. And he definitely had great pace, led those first few laps very confidently. But man, in the second portion of the race, it just all went upside down for him. So unfortunate for that 33. But man, I tell you what, who's been building the gap? It's Scott Rickard in the 05 on Chris Estre here in the 10. He's going to open it up more and more, continue to grow this gap, and just another dominant road course performance so far from Scott Rickard. If he can keep this race nice and clean down to the end, he should be in a good spot, man. Just looking really smooth up front.
But this is when, the tactics start to kick in. Both you and I, Zach, feel like these drivers still are going to have to come into pit road one more time. But do you come in and take tires, or do you just top off one fuel? Most likely, I'm expecting drivers to take tires because they're almost over 3 seconds, some even 4 seconds off of their fastest laps with fresh tires. But I would not be surprised to see, difference of strategies on who's going to come into pit road before or after the other between Scott Rickard and Chris Essery, because Essery has proven he can be very quick in the short run, but the driver with the fastest lap all day long goes to the 0.5.
It's going to be interesting to see what type of strategies played there. I mean, who is going to be the first to pull the trigger and come down pit road, put the set of tires on, do the undercut? If you're the 05 with Scott Rickard, I'm not even focused about pitting right now. I'm focused about hitting good laps, growing that gap, continue to do that before I make my final pit stop of the race. And with the way the race is playing out right now, 18 to go, I could see those pit stops happening for some drivers here in the next couple laps. But if I'm one of them, I want to go as far as possible here to have the best set of tires down at the end. It always feels better when you get down to the end of the race. The higher grip comes out with the more rubber on the racetrack. Maybe even the or the track temperatures possibly even cooled down. You never know. You want that fresh rubber at the end of the race, though, most possible.
Issues back half of the field. Travis Butt trying to be aggressive to try to get by Aaron Hale. Mistakes were made, the 4 losing time. But man, we saw there for a quick second the times that were being gained and lost from Scott Rickard at Chris Essery. Scott Rickard was gaining a lot more time than he was losing, which is why that gap continues to build and build, as now we're starting to see some of the other drivers in the middle pack of the field. 12th running that of Nate Lynch, and also that of John Shalano going to be making the moves. 12th and 13th battle currently within about a second of one another.
Shalano keeps going forward here, Sam, man. This is an impressive run for that 3 machine. Same for Dylan Glass, who, we had Shalano right on. Glass is off track, actually, as Shalano's going to take the position from him now as Nate Lynch also by Glass. That's going to put Glass back to 13th. Shalano up to 12th with Nate Lynch back to 11th. And that was an unfortunate moment for Dylan Glass there, as I spoke about.
Yeah, I mean, for Dylan Glass, that is one of the worst places to go off course, but luckily he went off course shallow. If he had gone off course any deeper and into the dirt more, could have been stuck behind some tire wall barriers. That is one of the more tricky areas. If you get stuck behind there, you have to take a tow. So issues for that of the 42 of Dylan Glass, as we still stay on board with that of Shalano. And seeing the drivers and where they are currently, we're starting to see some front runners decide to come to pit road. Dylan Grimm, also that of Kyle McCoy, both getting service currently into pit road. Starting to see those drivers decide it's time to come in.
Yeah, it's like I said, I felt like this was starting to get to that area where you could possibly start to think to want to pit. I think Rickard will go a little bit farther here to try to have, again, that tire life, like I think with the gap he has here. But man, a few of these guys, they're battling back here in the in the teens. they could be looking to get big gains here from an undercut. So we can see a few guys taking some big risks here, trying to take the tires for the longest distance on the final run of this race. But man, it gets so tough what decision to make, and that's why we got to give credit to a lot of these guys out here on the track. You know, you're a crew chief out there on the racetrack in sim racing. You do everything your own in the cockpit. So making these decisions on the fly while you're trying to hit the marks around these 12 turns, it's a difficult thing to do.
Absolutely. As we continue to watch the battling for sixth place, it's that of Andrew Medlin, Derek Offerman, both drivers that pitted before our stage break at lap 10. So they're both on older tires, both trying to put on a great show and continue to move forward. But we were wondering of the front two, who's going to come into pit road first? Would it be Scott Rickard or Chris Essery? And it was actually that of Chris Essery, also Cameron Sarton, and here comes the 12 of Medlin. We're starting to see some front runners in the top 10 finally crack into pit road.
Yeah, this is the time to get it done. They're going to go for a little bit of an undercut, take it in here earlier, and got to remember these were the drivers that pitted earlier also before that first competition. Caution as here comes Medlin down to his box. We'll see what he can get done. Is he did drop back just a teeny bit from where he was, but man, he hung on well with those older tires, Sam.
And as we see drivers coming in and out of pit road, disappointment further back. Ken Campbell once again disconnected, trying to get back into the session. Travis Butt, same issue, disconnected. Has not looked like he's going to be coming back into the session. Might be calling it a day for the 00. You hate to see some of these drivers that were strong contenders last season having these woes.
Yeah, that's a tough break, especially Travis. But I mean, Ken Campbell, he's got almost a race lead over the rest of the field in points, so he can take a little bit of a hit here tonight at Sonoma and still be the points leader. So no big deal for him, but in the overall scheme, it is a big, tough break for him. But man, Travis Butt, he needs some good runs to help get him out of the hole that he is digging early in the season in this A car. That's tough for him, and that 00 machine again caught out.
Absolutely, as more drivers coming into pit road. John Shalano going to be coming in finally, as well as Dylan Glass, John Dart. But as we see the drivers now cracking into the top 3, Chris Wade, as now Scott Rickard, after seeing a lap of seeing his competitors come in, has to come into the next go around. Also, here comes Kyle Bowling, as Wade decides to stay out, try to lead a lap, is the 53.
Yeah, Chris Wade going to continue on out here, and he's going to be the low man to do that. There is Bowling has hit pit road also. So we'll see where Rickard comes out compared to Chris Essery and Cameron Sarton, who right now only about a 2-car length gap in between those two. It's going to be closer for Scott Rickard, who had a decent gap. So I think he should be able to do this very easily here as he's exiting pit road. Now it looks like Essery and them just going to be coming around the bend here for the start finish line. Rickard should have a nice clean 2-second lead or so.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about making sure you get back out on track as clean as possible. You don't get trapped behind traffic, and that's exactly what happened to Chris Essery. You try to go with the undercut, but when you're one of the first drivers, to do an undercut and come into pit road, you're going to be trapped behind other traffic that is much slower, and it hurt that of the 10. And for Scott Rickard, almost ran a full 10 seconds faster on that last lap, which gave him the slight advantage that he has. This is huge between Scott Rickard and Chris Essery, because just having the 1 lap advantage with tire wear is great, especially because now it has turned in practically a shootout like it was for that first stage.
Yeah, it really has turned into a shootout now. Really rung what you brung and get the usage out of your tires. But yeah, Rickard just did that phase perfectly personally. With the gap that he has now, he really couldn't have done it any better. He's got 1 lap fresher tires, and the gap has pretty much been stable exactly where it was when he came into pit road. Even with a lap later on the pit, he did an excellent job there on that pit stop.
And now we wait and see, when will Chris Wade decide to come into pit road, and it is now the 53 into pit road, going to be giving the lead to Scott Rickard and also Kyle McCoy. Kyle McCoy, great job for himself, again, making the undercut and getting the huge advantage over that. The 7 currently up to 3rd place. We'll see if he can hold on. It's behind him, side-by-side racing, Sarton Essery. They had contact previously. Will it happen again? The 13 had to got Russell Feathers. Let's see if the 10 can hold on from that.
Ooh, that was definitely a little close between those two there, but great racing nonetheless. And we've seen each other give the positions to each other earlier in the race, so they definitely probably didn't mean to do that. But Kyle McCoy, gotta say, what a job by him there. He ran his fastest lap in the race here right now in that second spot as it's all cycled through. He could be looking for his first podium of the season. He's got the fight strong, though, with Chris Essery and that 13 behind him.
Yeah, Chris Essery and Sartin both have been very strong on the ways that they've been moving forward. Kyle McCoy, big credit on the fact that he put his fastest lap down almost just about 0.04 of a second off of Scott Rickard's fastest lap that was put down here today. So the 7 certainly has speed, but it's also trying to make sure that he stays consistent. That's going to be the biggest thing here as 05 continues to rages on. But Zach, for us, we're coming closer and closer to the end of the race. We're going to step aside for one more time. When we come back, it's going to be close to 10 laps to go as the racing action gets closer and closer. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Stars and Stripes Cup Series at the Grand Prix of Sonoma at Sonoma Raceway. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Robert Moyer's our producer, and it is ramping up. This is the battle for second, third, fourth, and fifth on your screen. And these four drivers side-by-side racing for second. Chris Essery finally trying to be making a move. Kyle McCoy did his best, but on the older tires has to falter as it is now a four-car pack to see who's going to be racing for second place as they are raging on. Zach, it is just a meltdown as they battle around. Up front, Scott Rickard continues to pull away.
Well, Chris Essery there getting by from the second position there now. Bowling coming into the picture in the 44. McCoy up ahead in the 7 and second and third now, trying to hold on to this picture. They got Burchett also there in the 33 coming up. It looks like he might be on newer tires also on this racetrack, so he might be a factor as multiple laps down. But made a 13 K with Sargent. They're all over the back bumper of the 7 as he made a mistake and let that 10 get by.
Now, watching these drivers right now, it's anywhere from a 5 to that of a 10, last the 13 drifting it there. These 4 drivers, it's a pretty wide margin of what the tire wear is like as Kyle McCoy continues to battle on. Here comes the 44. But yes, the 33 of Burchett just came out of pit road 2 laps ago, 4 fresh tires, so he's going to be right on the rear bumper. But how aggressive will the driver that is currently 6 laps down be with our front runners? Also of note, that of Scott Rickard just put down almost his fastest lap of the day. He's starting to find a little bit speed here late as the laps tick away. We're coming up to 10 laps to go here at Sonoma, and everything is starting to ramp up here at the end. Zach, I got to say, we had the stage break. We saw some drivers being up front showing some speed. Right now, the best battling is what's going on currently for 3rd place now as Kyle McCoy continues to try to fend off the 13 of Sargent and Bowling.
Yeah, he's doing a great job somehow. Oh, he's in the dirt here on the exit of the corner, down to 11, down to 12. Sargent going to have it, but he's got the tires all high. He's going to slide in the apex. Here's Boland's chance to get a good drive off. He's going to be side by side with the 13 possibly.
It was a great run from Kyle McCoy, but with all the speed he put into those tires, how much heat's been melted in, it just wasn't enough grip and enough track for himself. And now the pressure going to be placed once again for 3rd. It's going to be Kyle Bowling, who's just trying to hound and hunt down that of Cameron Sargent. And Sargent, got to be careful because the 13, he's got a lot of worn tires as well. He's got the oldest of all the sets that are out here battling for this group. So it's certainly one of those things where the drivers are doing their best. 10 laps to go, and the racing, it has not dropped. It has been hot and heavy from the start to finish, but now we're starting to see some different faces cracking into the top 10. Kyle Bowling's been kind of waiting back, but because he waited to come out with the freshest tires, he's now been able to fight with guys that have been up front for most of the race.
Yeah, he's been right around that top 5 for most of the race, but right here made the right pit strategy. They all started battling and let him close the gap down right into the zone. He has made a mistake here once he's got behind the 13 there a few times to get the traction down. He does have the fresher tires though, so we'll see if he has any chance here in the final 10 laps. But man, oh man, he ran some really quick laps there to start off that run. That could have definitely had a hurt on the tires.
Well, the drivers are starting to calm down just for a little bit. We're expecting it to ramp up quickly here, and if they got a breather for a quick second, we got a breather as well. If you're looking to get yourself a sim rig and you need a place to start, get a chassis, or just get retail in general, go to that of Advanced Sim Racing, as they will hit you up. Advanced Sim Racing, get yourself discount code FreakyFast5 to get yourself started. And honestly, it's one of the best places to go. It's like the eBay of sim racing. You've got everything you need from wheels, chassis, sim rigs. They've got it all at Advanced Sim Racing. Go check them out as the racing continues to rage on. It's all for 3rd place right now as Cameron Sargent doing his best to hold on, but you can kind of tell the 13, he's been very aggressive, Zach, and you can already start to see those rear tires are very much heated up and struggling to stay on course.
Yeah, it's something we've seen there for a few phases of the runs here earlier in the race. The 13 will have some really hot tires and start to slide around. The 44s, he's doing a little bit of sliding around also, but you got to be able to try to put the power down better in the driver head. As you can see, man, the 13 just working that rear end as he goes through the corner, now down into the carousel, down to the left-hander. Oh no.
Behind, it's going to be the 33. It might be 6 laps down, but that of Burchett going to go off course almost into the tire barriers as we continue to watch the racing up front. The squealing of a lot of drivers. Issues, though, going to be watching out.
Yeah, Kyle McCoy also, he went off, did the same thing Brian Burchett did. He gets into the tire barrier. He loses a spot to, it looks like Christopher Wade.
And also, even further back from them, Nick Holland, Andrew Medlin, and also that of Derek Offerman, they continue to race very close to one another. As you see this pack of drivers, this is for 7th place that we're seeing. And Nick Holland, where are you going? Off course and almost into the outside wall. The 68, it just seems like those rear tires are completely gone. Same thing happened, breaking into the carousel. Taco Bell having some issues in the rear end, and he's going to have to falter back. And I got to say, if he's got himself a butt kicker, he is certainly feeling all of these rumbles, and you too as well could. If you use the discount code FreakyFast20, get yourself a game or two, feel what you've been missing. Instead of just hearing these squeaks and hearing the rumblings, why not feel them and know that you're making some mistakes as the 68 falters, loses time, goes backwards. And Zach, the hard racing continues on, even in front of the 68, as Derek Offerman, Medlin, they're almost side by side going into turn number 12.
Everybody losing traction with the rear end of the race cars right now. It's all about finding every little ounce left of the grip here. And guess what? They still got 8 laps to go. That's an eternity here on a road course. If you think they're slipping and sliding right now, wait till you see at the end of this 8-lap run we got down to the end as we jump back up to that third place battle. S3, he's pulled away for second. When we jump aboard with Sargent, we're going to see what he is fighting in this 13 machine is the grip has gone away and bowling has not.
Is just a madhouse trying to hold on to these cars, and we threw it out there. They felt like this was going to be another sprint to the end, but Zach, I don't think these drivers realized how long it was going to be. I mean, it was going to be about a 13-lap stint, if not a 15-lap stint that they were going to have to race to the end. A lot of these drivers are now just, they threw it all out in those first 5 laps when they got fresh rubber. They're now going to be struggling from here on out, and you cannot really make a mistake from here. There is no stage break to reset you, get you back into the mix of things. If you get into an accident and you get stuck in the wall, stuck in the tire barriers, you're going to have to take a tow, which could put you multiple laps down.
And as we watched all this right here, Sam, right on board with the 13, the 10 ahead of him, he makes big mistakes. He gets reeled right back into this. The traction there for the 13, you can just hear the tires spinning up as he goes down the straightaway. But yeah, the 10, he has a little mistake that's kind of brought him back into the picture, but Bolin keeping the pressure on this 13.
And, another factor we noted on at the start of the broadcast before we went green, the track extremely warm. So we were slipping and sliding. It just practically doubles the amount of wear and tear that you're doing because of how warm this track is. It's only gone down just that of 3 degrees, but the track temp still 126 Fahrenheit on track. It is melting the rubber, the same as them slipping and sliding is melting down the rubber. Again, ambient temperature still 88, but it is hot, slick, and we're seeing it right now.
And you can see also the wind. That is that's some heavy wind there. A 20-mile-an-hour west wind here is that's got to have some type of effect definitely on these race cars. So not sure which way the track faces and how that would be affecting them, but in some corner that 20-mile-an-hour wind is going to have a huge effect, especially on a road racing car.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going downhill, the wind is pushing these drivers to that of the right. So when they're going downhill, they got to be making sure that they're setting themselves up. But that wind obviously affecting them when they get down in the speed sections. And then you get to the wall, it's going to be blocking off just a little bit of that wind. But it certainly is making things a little bit harder. And that's why they're wiggling so much going downhill into these corners, because there's so much wind. And then when they go uphill, again, it's pushing them to the left. So they're going to be struggling a lot here tonight.
Yeah, the struggles are definitely going to continue to grow too here for him as we continue on. 6 to go now for Scott Rickard, who has settled in up front the last few laps, though. Not been as quick as the drivers behind him. And he's got a 6-second gap. He can be leisureful right now. There's no reason to go out here and push and burn up any type of tire wear and put yourself in a mistake to give these guys a shot at maybe a bump and run at the end. So definitely don't want to be making any mistakes if your name's Scott Rickard. But right now, Chris Essery, Cameron Sargent, and Kyle Bolin, they've done their best just to stay together. As now we're watching this battle too of Medlin and the 20 of Derek Hoffman. These two have not got away from each other.
Absolutely not. And Zach, what's crazy to think is these drivers have only been green for that of for an hour and 20 minutes for these drivers. And just in about a week, we're going to be seeing drivers race for 6 hours. And just imagine they're feeling right now, these drivers probably feeling a little bit of fatigue. But for that 6-hour event that we're going to be putting on here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the 6 hours at Daytona for juvenile research and diabetes research, we are excited for it. Zach, we've been harping on it a lot. We're excited for the 6-hour event. These drivers, again, only been on track for an hour and 20 minutes we've been watching. Imagine 6 hours next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun race nonetheless. As you see now, Hoffman put the great move on Medlin for that pass. You're going to see a lot of that during the 6 hours right there. Is a lot of guys making passes because it's going to be multi-class, and that's going to be one thing we've never done here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So that's something that I think is going to be a cool addition, and we're going to get to see some multi-class racing that gives different types of strategies, and it's going to be 6 hours of a great time at Daytona with some great people.
6 hours where it's all about teamwork. Going to be seeing drivers in pairs of 2, pairs of 3, or even pairs of 4 for that 6-hour event. We'll be giving you all coverage for all 6 hours here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. 5 laps to go. Scott Rickard continuing to pull away by over 6 seconds over the 10 of Chris Essery. And Essery, pressure, lap traffic, another factor for this battling that's been going on for second place. Lap traffic's been getting out of the way, but that's a factor we really haven't touched on a lot here, Zach, as traffic's been very nice on getting out of the way for these drivers.
Yeah, traffic has been very good. I mean, sometimes the timing is never going to work out. You could be hoping that it will, and someone just can't get out of your way. There's some corners that really only give one groove, and it's hard to let somebody by. So you got to pick and choose when you let people by and where to do it, and definitely know that you're going to do it. So no issues happen, but everybody's done a great job. But I tell you what, it has done a little bit of that. It's brought that second, third, and fourth battle. It was close, but again, it closed right back down as those three are all on top of each other.
Second and a half is the difference between second to fourth, and this is the closest racing currently on track for position. Other battles, there's about a second or more the difference between those gaps for position. And right now, for Kyle Bowling, Sarton, Essery, they have put on a show. They've made the ending of this race so engaging for us. But for Scott Rickard, he's just happy there's no more stages to worry about. Coming across the line, 4 laps to go of making sure you stay perfect, clean, and you don't make any mistakes, and can run a little bit slower than he wants to because he's got this over 6, almost 7-second gap with the battling behind.
Yeah, he's running some of his actually slowest laps of the race right now, just due to that, Sam. He is really smart driver. I mean, you gotta applaud that. Some drivers would try to go and build the gap as much as they can for their ego. It doesn't matter if Scott Rickard wins by 1 foot. It's a win is a win for him, and I think that's gonna be oh no.
Dylan Glass going to be back in 16th position. I noted on that you can get trapped behind the tires. 4 laps to go, and you can't even see him because he's trapped where he is. Went too far, has to take the tow. Issues for the 42 once again.
Oh no, Sam, that is terrible circumstances for him. As he's going to have to take the tow, and he's going to go from 13th to, it's most likely once he gets the tow through, he may be not even looking at a top 20.
Yeah, it's going to be Mike Lynch. We're going to be watching out for. Ken Campbell just went a lap down. Most likely, we're going to be seeing Glass continue to fall down the ticker and through the board. Mistakes heavy here late in the going, and I noted on it, that chicane can be so detrimental if you just go a little bit too far. In the blink of an eye, you see your race go up in smoke. As Glass falls back, we then go back to the battling that was going on for third place. You try to hope that you don't make any mistakes like that, Zach, but it's so easy to just make that mistake going just a little bit too fast and pushing it too hard, too late.
Oh, and especially downhill, Sam. That's the biggest thing to that corner. That corner, not only is it downhill, also it falls away to the left, It's not a straight corner downhill. It's a very much sweeping, and the road is almost banked to fall away from the road. The car really wants to push down that track, and even you got to tap the brakes as you go over the crest, and that's when the car gets at its lightest point and has its least amount of grip. So the brakes don't really work that well once you go over top the hill. Then you're going down the hill, and you can't stop, and you can see it there. Glass was taking a very wide entry. It was taking a little bit of a harder charge on the outside line and cutting it down through the apex to slow it up. And right there, it was just a little mistake of getting in way too hot, getting up into the dirt, and you can't get slowed down, and stuck behind the barriers and gonna have to tow.
Absolutely, and for a quick moment there, I was getting worried for the 44 Kyle Bowling. He was getting very antsy trying to get by the 13. They're not going to be ducking it to the high line, get it by Ken Campbell, who easily is just going to let these drivers battle as hard as they want. But now we're in the last 3 laps of the race, Zach. We're seeing Boyle so close to the 13. At some point, He needs to make the move. Not going to be able to get close enough down through the S's, but will we see the 44 potentially decide to use the bumper? Will he try to stay clean here in these final 3 laps?
Oh, a little bit loose there, but has the superior traction. He's almost going to get to the quarter panel here before the high-speed left-hander. That makes him have to compromise it just a little bit with his entry. So not going to have the greatest exit out of 11 as they head down to 12. He's going to set something up here, though, diving to the inside. 13 opens it up but closes the door there as they're going to be coming to 2 to go, Sam. This is going to be critical here for Bolin to get it done. He's got to get it done in those hard braking zones.
Who are we going to talk to? Is it going to be Kyle Bowling, one of our drivers that have raced for a championship, hasn't gotten the gold, but one of our stronger competitors in the 44? Or will it be the rookie of Cameron Sarton, who we're looking to talk to here tonight? Chris Essery just needs to stay smooth as drivers behind him battle for third. And for Scott Rickard, over a 7-second gap and continuing to try to make sure it continues to grow, leading the race. This is your closest battle on track. 2 laps to go, and the 44 trying to figure out where to place himself to try to make this pass. I mean, the patience has been there for Kyle in the 44, but for how long? As here we go, coming down in the chicane, they're slipping, they're sliding. This could be the opportunity for the 44.
Yeah, I gotta say, Kyle Bolin, very, very patient. He could have definitely gotten into the rear bumper of that 13 at any point there. He's going to try to set some up here down the long drag strip. Not going to be close enough, though, as he's 3 car lengths back heading into the braking zone.
He's going to have to be a little bit of a late braking here. He's going to get right on the back bumper, but this is going to cost him on the off of the corner. Very nice, smooth corner for the 44, keeping it close, but a little bit further back than he was that last lap. Got to be making sure he's perfect. 2 laps to go as we wait for Scott Rickard to come across the line and give us our freaky fast 1 to go. As we see the 44 ducking it high, ducking it low, trying to figure out where he wants to place himself as it's going to be coming across the line here. Scott Rickard giving us our freaky fast white flag. Now it's going to be battling. Will we see the pass into turn number 4? Not seeing it just yet. The 44 just too far back, but he's only got just a handful of opportunities now as we're coming to the line. Here we go, the final lap. Who's going to get that 3rd place position?
It's going to be critical here for him to get close in those hard braking zones. The drag strip, I think, is going to be the place he wants to set him up so he can have that pass down through the S's. Bolin going to need to get the traction down here in these critical phases here. He's going to have 12 turns to get at the podium.
It's going to be all Cameron Sarton. How perfect can he be? He just needs to put his bumper and block the 44. Doesn't need to get extremely aggressive on the throttle. He just needs to make sure the 44 doesn't get on the inside and the entries of these corners as they come down. This is where a lot of slipping and sliding's been. Both of them going to slip up. Coming down the hill to the chicane. This is where you can get a lot of speed, but Scott Rickard needs to hit it just perfectly as they come around the chicane.
Around the carousel here, the 44, Kyle Bolin, trying to put the power down. Does he have the better run off? A little bit better run than the 13. He's been a late breaker here the last few times. Looks to the inside, not going to be there, but this could possibly set up for that final run down to turn 12. They're coming through turn 7 and heading down to the S's. Back to you.
It's going to be going down the hill. Who's going to be able to make the move? It's all about setup at this point. Who's a little bit of the rumble strip is going to be that of Sarton. Then it's going to be the 44 on the exit, setting them up, coming down into the fast stretch of the downhill. We're watching this battle for 3rd, but up front, Scott Rickard's looking good, but it's all on this setup. Will the 44 be close enough? Doesn't look like he will be, but up front, it's going to be all that of Scott Rickard coming out of turn number 12. Not close enough was the 44, but across the line for the Grand Prix at Sonoma. It's going to be Scott Rickard in the 05 with the win. And the battle for 3rd out of turn number 12, it's going to be that of Cameron Sarton getting 3rd place. Bolling's going to finish back in 4th. And what a run it was to the end to see who's going to be in the top 3. Zach, it was a great surge. They kept us on our toes, but they stayed where they lied.
What a drive there, not only by Scott Rickard, but man, Cameron Sarton, he had so much pressure. That mirror was full of a blue number 44 in that mirror, and I tell you what, he did not crack. He had some little moments that got him a little bit, close with the 44, but never cracked under that pressure and held it all the way down to the end. And what a drive for him, 7 positions up from where he started tonight.
Man, and then the gap for the lead. I mean, just staying patient. Slowest lap of the race was that of Scott Rickard, but he had over a 7.5 second lead. He was able to really slow down his pace and just be as smooth as possible, make no mistakes at the end. And Scott Rickard keeps himself up front, getting the victory here at Sonoma Raceway and becoming our second winner of the season, breaking the Ken Campbell streak, which Ken Campbell kind of had a sense that he wasn't going to be able to get a win here at Sonoma. It was going to be a huge long shot, but it was the favorite coming into the night that gets it done.
Yeah, Scott Ricker definitely was the favorite coming into tonight. He's definitely proved that those suspicions were right, as the 05 has had a dominant performance once again here on a road course at the Stars and Stripes League, and he's going to bring it down here through turn 11 down to turn 12, and he's going to get to celebrate here, Sam, a mighty fine win, and the first winner other than Ken Campbell this season.
See Scott, he's going to be slowing up, letting the other drivers check him out, and then he gets to come around the final couple of corners, corner number 11 into 12, and then he'll be able to burn it down. Scott Rickard found his place in the most open spot on the racetrack, gets to burn it down here tonight. We'll be right back here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the post-race show. We're going to be talking to that of Cameron Sartin, Chris Essery, and Scott Rickard, our top three. Congratulations to the 05. We'll be back in just a few.
All right, we're back here, everybody, at Freaky Fast Broadcasting with the Stars and Stripes Leagues Cup Series, as we've had one heck of a race here tonight at Sonoma for 48 laps, and it was a tough one, nonetheless, to say for sure. Is we're going to be looking at our third place man of Cameron Sargent here in the 13, his best finish up to this point of the season. We're going to hear from him in the 13 about how tough Sonoma was here tonight for him. Hey, Cameron, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Well, man, I tell you what, heck of a drive here tonight for yourself, man. Started back in that 10th position. Probably not where you wanted to qualify tonight. Had to drive a little bit harder to get up front there. But luckily had that stage caution to kind of bring you back into the race there in the top three. But, man, hard-fought battle nonetheless to say to bring third home tonight.
Yeah, no, it felt good. The first lap in qualifying, I clipped the grass, so didn't quite get that time confirmed through iRacing, but worked my way up nice and, a lot better than I thought, and I am absolutely whipped, so it feels good to bring home a little podium here along with Chris.
Yeah, man, definitely a good podium to go along with your teammate there, Chris. And man, like you said, got to feel good to bring a podium home here at Sonoma because, man, 7th was the best finish up to this point in the first 3 races. But in my opinion, you've shown a lot more pace than that 7th place finish, so it's got to feel good to break into that podium with a good run here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It does feel good. I feel like I've been pretty fast first 3, just kind of the strategy that we've kind of talked about just hasn't played out, and so be it. But as long as you keep performing, good results will come. So glad we got one here, and on the next week.
Yeah, man, on the Pocono next week. It's going to be fun to see you guys do battle there. But again, congrats on third here tonight, Cameron. Before we let you get out here, man, anybody want to send a shout to?
Well, thanks to my wife for letting me race on Thursday nights, one, along with Dad watching at home, and shout out to y'all for broadcasting. Appreciate it, and hope you enjoyed it.
We definitely did, man. Congrats on third, Cameron, and we will catch you next week, man. Back out on track.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
All right, that was your third place driver here tonight. Cameron Starchin in the 13 machine. What a drive it was for him from 10th up to that third position. But along with his his teammate here, Chris Essery, they both got both their best finishes here tonight. Let's talk to the 10 now, Chris Essery, about his heck of a finish. We got to ride along with him multiple points tonight and see what it was like driving around this track. Hey, Chris, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Chris, well, I got to tell you what, man, great run here tonight for yourself up into a top 2 position after starting in that 5th position. Had to be definitely a hard-fought battle with a lot of guys having a lot of pace up front there tonight. But coming down to throughout it, I mean, the pressure was on all night. How tough was it out on the racetrack?
Oh, it was really tough. Like, any minute, your race could have been over, and it's just you had to take it one corner at a time.
Yeah, definitely one quarter at a time here for sure. And, even coming down to the end, I mean, the top 3 battle, you had yourself, your teammate there behind the 13, and also Kyle Bowling in the 44. I mean, y'all were stacked right on top of each other. Like you said, at any moment, a mistake could happen. What was probably the biggest, toughest spot about the track tonight? We know that the track was very hot and slick for sure, but what corners were you really saying, man, I got to definitely be cautious here?
For me, it was the corner before the last hairpin. If you didn't slow down enough, you're in the dirt, and if you slow down too much, the people behind you gain up so much speed, and that one was really paranoid me throughout the race.
Yeah, definitely an important quarter, man. I tell you what, a great run for you here tonight in that second spot. We've seen the speed out of you multiple times this season in the first 3 races. Got 2 poles to start off the season. How good does it feel to come out here and get the first podium, though, here at Sonoma?
Oh, it feels great to finally have a strategy go your way and just nothing bad happen. I have to give a shout out for this track to Travis Dart, though. He gave me tons of tips to keep faster in the race.
Well, man, I tell you what, you definitely had a good showing here tonight in the 10 machine, and we'll have to see what you can bring back to the racetrack. Is definitely have had the speed, and it's good to see, like you said, the strategy fall on your side here tonight in that 10 machine. But before we let you get out of here, Chris, and go celebrate this top 3 finish, buddy, anybody you want to send a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to send a shout out to my brother Philip, my son Liam, and my team Travis Dart, John Dart, Cole, and Cam.
Awesome stuff, Chris, man. Well, I tell you what, congrats again, like I said, on second, and we will catch you next time out there on track.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was your second place driver, Chris Essery in the 10 machine. First top 3 finish of his season so far. But now we're going to move on to the driver that's won now his second road course race in the Stars and Stripes League. And that's Scott Rickard, our winner from Watkins Glen last season. He's going to be our winner now tonight from Sonoma. We talked to him last week. He said how excited he was about tonight. It showed for sure. Let's hear what he thought about his performance up front in that 05 machine. Hey, Scott, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yes, I do.
Well, I tell you what, Scott, a dominant performance, man, for you tonight here at Sonoma. Backing up your win at Watkins Glen from last season. You get your second road course win here tonight, man. But I tell you, you had to come from behind. You had to start in that 3rd position, was the fastest man in practice. Don't think qualifying went the way for you like you thought it would. But, man, you were able to get to that front before that stage ending and able to pull off this victory tonight. How hard was it, though, to get back up to that lead, and how worried were you there starting 3rd?
It wasn't too bad because I locked up at least one corner both qualifying laps. So 3rd was a lot better than I was expecting locking it up like I did. So that wasn't. I thought I was gonna have to dig out of a bigger hole than I did.
Well, man, you definitely took out that hole pretty quickly there as you got to the lead before we had the competition caution there from Brian Burchett. Through the final portion of the race, it almost seemed, I was bringing up the booth, almost a cat and mouse type of game as when you get the lead, try not to use too much tire. We see multiple times tonight your pace change at various moments with how close the competition was behind and how far your gap was. How did you manage the pace here tonight?
Just trying to be as smooth as I can here. This is all about rhythm track. Just don't mess up and you'll be just fine.
Definitely, man, you had the rhythm for sure on your side tonight as you're super smooth in that 05, able to bring home the first victory of this season in the Cup car, and we've made the switch now to the Cup car. You've performed very well so far, Scott, from, and your past Truck Series champion here also, so definitely looking to maybe get yourself a second championship here as now going to be in a good position with this win. How does that feel to be the first driver to knock King Campbell off the top of the board?
Oh, good. I tried a couple weeks ago, but I was a little bit short at that track. Thankfully, I had to try to beat somebody else this track, like I did last time I raced here. Where we both wrecked ourselves, trying not to let the air guy win, and at least I didn't have to worry about doing that this time here.
Definitely good stuff, man, as you were able to bring it home cleanly here tonight up front in that 05 machine here at the Sonoma Raceway, man. So congrats on that, Scott. And like always, before we let you get out here and go celebrate your victory, man, anybody you want to send a shout out to?
Everybody at the team and my dog in the room.
Well, but again, like we always say, congrats on the victory. You have a great night. Go celebrate it, and we will catch you next time back out on the racetrack.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner here tonight from the Sonoma Raceway, Scott Rickard in the 05 machine. What a drive it was from that driver. I mean, he's definitely one to watch for. I came in halfway through the season in the Xfinity Series, got to see him perform very well there. But looking at stats in previous seasons at the Truck Series, I think this Cup car and truck very similar to each other. I think the stars are aligning for this 05. Yes, we see King Campbell in the first 3 races, but do not count this man out as he's going to come out here tonight and get his first victory in the 4th race of the season. But we're going to head now to our race results and see where our drivers finished out tonight's 48 laps at one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. As there you can see Scott Rickard cut up on top here tonight at Sonoma, followed along by Chris Essery. What a great run for him. First time to break into the podium along with his teammate Cameron Sargent in the 13. First going to go to Kyle Bolin in the 44 machine. Great run for him and hard fought battle there with Cameron in the 13 all the way down to the end. Fifth's going to go to Christopher Wade. A good fought fifth there for him. Very much silent night for him, just keeping it quiet, and that's what all you can ask for at Sonoma for Christopher Wade. Sixth's going to go to our defending series champion, Kyle McCoy. Seventh's going to go to Derek Offerman. 8th is Andrew Mellon. 9th, Nick Holland. And rounding out your Freaky Fast top 10 is going to be Dylan Grimm. As we look through the rest of the field, definitely some drivers going to be looking to improve their positions for next week and on track because, man, it's starting to compile for a few guys that we thought were going to be heavy hitters and up near the top of those standings. They're now stuck down near the bottom, and one really sticking out of mind is that 00 of Travis Butt there, 24th here tonight, 19 laps down after getting disconnected. That's a tough situation for him. Brian Burchett also on pole. He gets out of this race early in the going. So tough situation for a few drivers tonight, losing points when they definitely needed them the most here at the Sonoma Raceway. But only 4 races in, we're headed now off to Pocono at week number 5, and it's going to be fun to see these drivers take on the Tricky Triangle before we head off to Kentucky. So make sure you tune in next week here on Thursday night if you're looking to, see that Pocono racing action here at the Stars and Stripes Racing League. And it's been a fantastic night. Sam wants to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. He had to get out here a little bit earlier tonight, but we want to thank everybody as we're going to be looking now to send it up to our producer, Robert Moore Jr., to close out tonight's broadcast before we head off for a new year.
All right. Well, thank you, Zach. Thank you, Sam. I know Sam had to dip out, but Sam wants to wish everybody a happy New Year's. And same from here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Happy New Year's to everybody. We won't see you back until next Thursday in the new year, the first week of January of 2022. It's going to be weird to say, but wow, what a race that we had. We had a lot of ups and downs, strategy playing, from first, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way up through the field. It was great watching this racing. But congratulations to Scott Rickard on getting his win. We went to we had our little Daytona Clash, and Ken had that win. And then we go to Daytona, Michigan. Like you said earlier in the broadcast, Zach, similar tracks. Ken showed the way there. Then we come to the road course, and Ken already said, unfortunately he had some internet woes, but he said that wasn't his strong point, and unfortunately that hand held true. for him, and he's going to wind up finishing way down at the board in 21st position. So he's got some points lead there. But, with that being said, though, Zach, I know I keep throwing it to you, but anyways, we're going to Pocono, similar to Daytona. It's kind of similar, to Michigan. It's a fast-paced track. So I got a question to ask you before we sign off, Zach. Do you think Ken can bounce back at Pocono, even though it's the name is a tricky triangle and it's got 3 different turns? Do you think it's almost similar to something like Michigan?
Yeah, I actually do, Robert. I think that's somewhere he could bounce back. I think that track is definitely still, I would say, a little bit more different than Michigan and Daytona, with the fact that it's not wide open. You will still have to lift, and there will be moments where you're going to need to really, back that entry up and corner up. So it is a little bit different, but he won at Atlanta. So, Atlanta, you got to kind of take that style also into factor. I think the biggest thing Ken Campbell's done so far throughout the season is he's qualified well, got out front in the clean air, and stayed up there. And if he can do it again at Pocono, I wouldn't be surprised to see him right back in victory lane with that 4th victory.
And I agree with you there, Zach. The big key with these Gen 6 cars, clean air, clean air, clean air, clean air, and we'll say it all night. He qualifies good. He gets himself up in the front. But, hey, we're going to have to find out next week when we get ready and head into Long Pond Pocono Raceway. So make sure you tune in next Thursday night at 9:20 and see if Ken can bounce back and get the win, or if somebody else says, oh, no, your streak's done. You had a great first half of the season or a quarter of the season. It's time for me to shine, or a different team to shine, because there's a lot of drivers here that can run Pocono good. So we'll have to see that all plays out. So with that being said, here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we want to wish everybody a happy New Year's. We won't see you until Monday night. We are off Friday night, of course, and then we're going to be off this weekend to celebrate New Year's. So make sure you enjoy it with your friends and family as we wind down the holiday season and we get ready to roll in a new year. But until next year, everybody have a great holiday. God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.